Government by American Idol.
What is American Idol?
That was a form of entertainment from old Earth. People competed to see who had the best singing voice.
Why?
I don't know. It was a dark time.
One of the reasons I love doing what I do, in the way that I do it, is because I'm not necessarily inhibited about the themes that I explore and how I can see art imitating life. That's probably why a lot of critics on YouTube and I will have trouble agreeing on what even the actual argument we're trying to break down is. I see universes, a lot of others see episodes. I bring this up because I found myself thinking about something that is becoming increasingly more obvious to me, and it really relates to an episode from a really great series. Specifically, I'm referring to Orville's Majority Rule. There is a weird circumstance that has occurred for those who were born within my generation. We were able to see the creation of our digital selves. That is to say that when I was born, there was really only one version of me that was and could be presented. Specifically, it was just me, the real person. The physical embodiment of everything that I portray, the person who you are listening to right now. I didn't grow up with the internet being easily accessible and people sharing who or what they were at the click of a button. That only really started to be a thing into my pre to early teens. Now, we have the existence of one's digital self, an imprint that can be accessed by any computer across the globe. As an example, even though I limit what my girls can do, both of my children have their own mini imprints that can be accessed if someone looks hard enough. Which is horrifying as a parent, let me tell you, but I can only minimize that. I can't stop it. Let's put all of that on hold for just a moment too. We'll get back to it in a second.
My God, you guys look like unemployed backup dancers.
You want to lead this landing party?
No, I'm too shy to wear a crop top.
The crux of Majority Rule's plot is that the USS Orville's navigator, John Lamar, has been tasked in finding a few scientists that went missing. He has been dispatched to a planet with others from the crew of the Orville to a planet that has a citizenry that is amazingly similar to that of the 21st century. The scientists they were searching for were actually looking into this specific culture. Making any Starfleet captain or admiral proud, the landing party would arrive with no idea what kind of planet they were landing on and literally not even doing the smallest ounce of research.
Right, like is this too grindy?
What the hell are you doing?
Is this too grindy or not grindy enough?
Because of this, unsurprisingly, John shows his misogynistic traits, which we know are found in all men, and he is promptly caught on camera. He's arrested and ultimately will be lobotomized if something isn't done. The interesting piece to the story is twofold. The planet that they find themselves on is a complete democracy, one in which everyone's voice matters and has a count.
And there's great concern about the level of contamination due to industrial waste in the South Medaka Reservoir.
But you can't deny facts. 74% of the population has voted that assessment false. I mean, facts are facts.
I understand.
Have a nice day.
Now, specifically, this is not a republic. It's not like the United States. It is a total democracy. Everyone over the age of 18 can decide on everything from ecological issues to war to criminals. Because of this, social media is vital and integrated into their form of government. It has become so commonplace that what a fact is determined by whichever thing is most popular. While we are shown quite fervently throughout the episode why this is not a good idea, there are pros to the thought. Everyone's voice, in theory, should feel heard. Everyone can comment, and everyone has the ability to give their piece. Well, they can with consequence, but we'll get into that a little bit later. There is a commonality and empowerment among those about any topic.
How does your world work?
We select representatives who discuss issues and enact laws.
But what about everybody else? Everybody deserves a voice. That's what we're taught.
Everyone is the government, not some politician, not a single totalitarian figure. Everyone. However, the problem is the government that we see here is being done by people.
Well, why the big secret? People are smart. They can handle it.
A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it.
The fatal flaw in a government that is a total democracy that utilizes social media for everyone to vote is that they aren't really being given all of the information. Let's take a look at John for a moment as an example. Effectively, there are two Johns that are shown in this episode. The John we know, an officer of the Planetary Union and someone who would give his life to save others, and the guy who tried to grind on a statue of a woman pioneer. His digital self has aspects of who he is. Certainly, he can be a jerk, but it's not the full picture. And because of this digital self, John was going to effectively be put to death via lobotomization, all because of one aspect of him. One very, very bad moment. The really screwed up thing is that John's trial, I guess we'll call it, if he is lobotomized or not, is never about the truth. It's not about if he should be there, what his punishment actually should be, or if he's even guilty.
You could say he supports his grandmother financially.
Do it.
But make sure you word it right. Like, say, oh my God, I just found out John Lamar supports his 90-year-old grandmother.
Flooding the feed with 20 million entries.
All right, what else?
If he was an overweight kid, that would help.
Hell, the way the crew of the Orville save him is by lying. They say he's a vet that has a dog and takes care of his 90-year-old grandma, cause screw his parents, I guess. No one verifies any of it because that would take too long, and there are so many things that people have to comment on. No one cares about the truth. Not really. What was amazing to me when I watched this episode, what was truly scary, was that I really see we are more and more becoming this civilization. Though, when I started doing research for it, I don't know, maybe we've always been this way in one form or another. However, unlike the society that Orville had to contend with, a lot of cultures now have two courts that a person must attend to. One is the legal system of where they live, one that can often punish those who are innocent and let the guilty go free. Though I would say that the system is always improving more and more and making more and more the right calls, but that's a personal opinion. And then there's the court of the public, what everyone else thinks, one in which social media plays a very, very large role. This realm, this court system has two masters. To a smaller degree, it's the public that overall plays the part. It's you and me. To a larger degree, it's corporations and CEOs that make the decisions. While we still have a pretty big issue with racism, more than what I think most people would admit, in the realm of digital media, it can seem like the content of one's character in a very specific situation without context is what's put on trial. Often it feels like people are just looking for reasons to attack someone, to find an instance where they were evil. And in the end, if you are found to be undesirable, then all that must be done is for Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to cut you off. This will effectively remove your digital self's ability to interact. Certainly there are other options, but they are so small in comparison that you have been virtually removed from the marketplace of ideas in a digital sense. And what if you find a platform that wishes to promote your ideas? Well, other companies that have ties with the platforms that threw you off can just decide to not provide the bandwidth. Not only are you not allowed to talk, but people who may not agree with you but wish to platform you aren't allowed to help you. Of course, I'm sure that, like in the episode Majority Rule, there will be people in the comments saying that some voices shouldn't be heard. They're too problematic or can cause actual harm. To that, I'll say this.
You're not wrong.
The problem and paradox when dealing with freedom of speech and freedom of expression is people will use it to harm others. They will then gain power and ultimately destroy someone's ability to use freedom of speech to overthrow them. So restriction isn't unreasonable, but unfortunately there's never been a time when limiters have been kept in good faith. They've always been broken for some form of ideology. And while it's easy to say that it's not a big deal because it's a corporation doing it, they should be able to do whatever they want, we see that that type of dialogue, the people who say that, often change their minds when the people they like are being censored. But we'll talk more about the answers after this. I don't know the answer to the problem, but what I do know is that we now exist as different personas, our digital lives showing only some specific pieces of who we are, and those pieces being judged. This episode never gives us any answers, and I don't know how to fix it either. Certainly, there must be some penalty when people do dangerous acts, but removing their ability to even exist is becoming more and more of a problem because it doesn't just stop with the toxic bad elements. It starts to get to normal people. As you read this, there are insurance companies, payment processing companies, social media companies, and more that are turning down people due to their ideology, preventing them from even existing or eating. Now, some of these people, again, they may need to shut down, but it's possible that this will lead to where people can't even find a place to live. And again, it's nuanced because there are some that are so bad that they could use social media and payment processing companies to do real harm. And I can understand a company not wanting to be a part of that. However, how do we know who to not allow to do things and who we should, and keep freedom of speech and expression in a way that someone can talk about whatever they have an issue with? I guess how all of this ends is how we decide to look at this as a culture. If we'll be okay with the destruction of people until the pendulum swings, and it will swing, back to the other side and they start to persecute us. Or if we take a stand and we figure out how to ensure bad actors can't harm others, but still allow most people to keep their liberties. Unfortunately, it'll take more than a video that likely will have a low to middle viewership for the channel to make any kind of changes. But these are my opinions. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below.
Everybody deserves a voice. That's what we're taught.
A voice should be earned, not given away.
I mean, you always know what the majority wants. That's what matters.
Well, you always know what the mob wants, too.